How do you know if they're the one? I'm Daria and welcome back to Salt's YouTube channel. And today we're going to be talking about how did you know this person was your spouse? So if you've been asking that question, maybe you're in a dating context and it's getting close to you wondering, okay, could this person be my spouse? By the end of this video, I hope and pray that you will have clarity and the confidence to move forward as opposed to staying stuck out of fear, worried about, am I going to make the wrong choice? So subscribe to Salt's YouTube channel if you have not already. And let's get into the first point. 1, pray. I am all about being practical when it comes to dating, and I'm not one to try to over spiritualize things. You're like, Lord, give me a sign. God, if I see 2 doves, if I see 2 birds flying in the air, or God, if I eat something and they like the same thing, they're my spouse. I'm not talking about that, but you need to pray. If there's something that my mother told me when I got engaged to my now husband, she was like, Daria, who you choose to do life with is the second most important decision that you'll ever make. The first one is choosing to follow the Lord and accept Jesus Christ. But the second most important decision is who you will marry, because this is going to be intertwined with your entire life, your personal life, your finances. You two are doing life together. There were times where I was unsure because we were just getting to know each other. It was still early on, but with time and by me just taking things slow with him and us communicating and getting to know one another, it became clearer and clearer. So if you're truly seeking God, don't worry about, Lord, is this the right choice or not? You will have his peace. If this is a true desire of your heart and you want your marriage to give him glory, God honors that. God sees that genuineness. He sees that authenticity. And if you have not yet met your future spouse and you know that it's a genuine desire, don't discount yourself out thinking, well, maybe it's not God's will. You don't know the timing. You do not know the time. I know a lot of Christian singles, that's hard to hear sometimes. It feels like, okay, it's God's timing, but it really is true. 2, check the fruit. So you may be praying and seeking the Lord, but you also need to be evaluating. Dating is a way of gathering data. Dating is not so much so, are they my spouse? It's more of, okay, with how they live their life, can I see myself with this person? So check the fruit. Love, joy, peace, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness. How do they treat their family? How do they steward their finances? How do they handle pressure? How do they respond to anger? See if there is alignment. Are things coming together? And even though my husband and I were a long distance, God just had it to where things fell into place. We were able to see each other as often as we could in person. So do you see the hand of God on this relationship? Or are you trying to force it? Does it feel like you're in this relationship out of desperation? Like, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to be alone forever. This has to work. I have to get married. Do you really want to get married from that place? Because again, life is going to happen to you, single or married. But in the context of marriage, you need to make sure that you are with someone that, 1, is secure in their relationship with the Lord, and 2, they are sold out on you and you are their choice. And then again, you two can come together and be a light, especially in a world where people are so disillusioned with relationships. A lot of Christians are afraid, thinking, well, if that's what marriage is, I don't know if I want it, or what if I make the wrong choice? Again, that's why I say pray, check the fruits, see if they're alignment, which leads me into my third point of give it time. And I know this is a hard one to hear because I know that a lot of Christian singles feel like, well, I'm getting older. I don't have time. I'm approaching 40. I'm approaching 50. I don't have time to date someone for 2 years to see if they're the right one. But I have yet to hear someone, me included, regret taking their time and getting to know someone. Now, I'm not saying you got to date for 10 years. And I know that there's circumstances that can happen where a couple may take them longer to get married. I know a lot of those stories are common when it comes to someone being in the military, or they're working in a different country, things like that. So there are special circumstances, but if you're not in that special circumstance category, you do not need to be dating for 10 years, okay? You need, yes, to take your time, but also know where you're headed. Where is the end goal with this? Is this person seeking marriage for the long haul? Not the first date, but is this something that they have on their mind for the future? So you do want to give it time, because marriage is for life. It was meant to be for life, not to imprison, not to burden us, but just how God chooses us for life. And he says in his word, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. Marriage is supposed to be a mirror of that. Marriage is a mirror of the gospel. And yes, there are some cases where people say, well, God told me who my spouse was early on. Okay, cool. But wait to see God confirm it with the other person, because if you're saying that they're your spouse and they haven't been confirmed, then that's just manipulation, and we don't want that. And if you have this uneasiness, I have seen a lot of Christians like, I feel uneasy about this relationship. I feel anxious. Again, that's why you need to pray, because sometimes that could be coming from your own fears. Maybe you're like, this is too good to be true. I've been waiting for so long. What if this, is pulled out from under me like a rug, right? I felt that way. There was a point where I felt like my husband was too good to be true, because he literally checked everything that I had been praying for. So I was like, I was getting anxious. I'm like, God, is this really happening? So in my case, I had to pray to confirm, realizing, okay, God's hand is on this. But there's also that uneasiness, because God's like, this is not me. This is not my will. You're compromising. You know that there's no alignment. You know that you're doing this out of desperation, right? So again, you're not going to know that early on. So that's why I say give it time. And even for those of you that feel like I don't have time or time is running out for me, God is the keeper of time. We serve a God that created time. So even if you feel like you lost something in past relationships where it didn't work out, like, man, I spent 2 years in that relationship and they broke my heart, or I spent a year in that relationship and it didn't pan out, or I found myself talking to this person for 6 to 8 months and we weren't even in a relationship. It was a friendationship or a situationship and I just wasted my time. I get it. But God is the redeemer of time, and you can surrender that area of your life to him and say, you know what, God, I'm going to trust you in this dating context. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to skip from 0 to 1,000. I'm going to pray. I'm going to seek you, do my part, show up, be who I am. And if this person wants to be with me, cool. And if not, that is fine. That does not mean that I'm damaged goods. It doesn't mean that I'm unlovable. I'm trusting you. So when you can say that confidently, you're in a healthy place. All right. Another big one, 4. Really practical. Can you be yourself with them? Can you genuinely be yourself around this person? Can you have fun with this person? Can you laugh? Can you enjoy each other's company? Like my husband, we also laugh together at the silly things. So I like being around him. He's not just my husband. He's also my friend. He's also someone that hey, if we were doing nothing and it's rainy outside, I'm not bored because we're together. We're not bored with each other. So you do want that bond with that person. On their worst day, would they still want to be with you? On your most horrible day, that you feel like, I just feel yucky, everything's going wrong, and you still choose this person? That's the question that you need to ask yourself, because again, life's going to happen to you. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. You're not going to be lovey-dovey, just skipping through the fields, holding hands. You need to be able to say, I can be myself with this person, whether it's on a good day or a bad day. And even in my worst moment, I would still choose them because I know that they would still choose me. And then finally, remember that this is a step of faith. There is no foolproof method of God, are they the one? But again, you can seek the Lord. You can look for his hand on the relationship. And as you get to know God for yourself individually, and you have that bond with him, he'll confirm it. And if you feel like, well, I made a mistake before, God knows how to restore. Trust God with your heart. God cares more about your heart, even more than you do, believe it or not. You don't want to be hurt. I agree. You don't want to be taken for granted. I agree. But God cares more about your heart, even more than you do. So you can trust him with it. So I hope and pray that this is giving you some peace. Maybe you're in that context where you're getting close to considering marriage with this person, or maybe you're not as of yet. And you're like, how will I know when that time comes? How will I know? Well, the one way to know is knowing the one, which is Jesus Christ. And he will confirm who is meant to be with you and do life with you. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. Again, subscribe to Salt's YouTube channel if you have not already. I will see you on the next video. Bye, everyone.